You don't want me to press the button and start the thing recording. I can't even reach a dog pussy from here. Kita, there we go. Now you can see your face at least. I wonder if a lot of you are fluented regarding your state self-defense laws. Okay, I'm gonna scratch her belly a little bit more. And no, I'm not going down to her dog pussy, guys. I'm not doing that. I come close to it, but I'm not going to get near it. And I'll read about Pennsylvania's called the Castle Doctrine or self-defense laws. Just look at you down there. Look how the first fur is almost like it's, I don't know, guys. It's real funny. It's almost like it's silky or something. It's almost like Elvis Presley here. See what I do too. I inspect her paws, the pads, make sure they're not cracked, make sure there's nothing in between. Her nails are. I'm going to take her to the groomer. Her nails are going to get filed down, maybe an eighth of an inch. Now, you ain't gonna like it either, but they're going to tie you up, and you're going to have to get them ground down a little bit, whether you like it or not. And you ain't gonna like it none. Last time she was at the groomers, it was over 3 years ago. But you get over it, Katie. You're gonna have to get groomed, honey. We're gonna get you bathed up by a professional groomer, okay? And you're gonna get your claws ground down a little bit. Yes, you are. That's gonna be my Christmas gift to you, okay? Hi. So Pennsylvania's and the Pennsylvania's Castle Doctrine, it it goes for whether you're in public or whether in your vehicle or in your house. Now, if someone breaks into your house where you're able to get your firearm and are coming at you with maybe like a machete and you shoot to kill, you're going to still get yourself in a who's gal. You're going to still get yourself in a big mess. And then the police are going to investigate it. You might even wind up being on the news, and then maybe like 1 or 2 weeks later on, there'll be an update, and they'll talk about what happened on the news. They'll say the police have investigated to find that the homeowner acted in self-defense. Because that's what news agencies do. News agencies, they thrive on destroying people's lives. They thrive on it. So no matter how much in a right situation you are, you're going to be in trouble. Basically, you're going to be, I call it the who's gal. You're going to be in trouble. So my best advice is, or you have to be armed. I'm a firm believer in the Second Amendment. But my best advice is to make your house hard to break into. It's not going to be. There's no home that's impossible to break into. Any home can be broken into, but make it more difficult. And it's like, for instance, your exterior doors can be bashed in. Anybody can make one of them big long bashers like the SWAT teams have. Anybody can make one of those out of concrete. All you got to do is you just get yourself a 6-inch plastic pipe, or a like even a 4 by 6 inch is better because it can hold more concrete. You get a 6-inch plastic pipe, 4 feet long. Put some kind of handles on. You fill that dude up with concrete, and there's your door smasher. That's just almost like the one the SWAT teams have. Or a lot of these burglars here, they kick a door in and make your door really hard to kick in. What I did with my exterior doors is, the way a door gets kicked in is it's not kicked in off the hinges. What happens when a person kicks a door in, the frame that the hinges are screwed into, the frame comes off of the 2x4, the what do I call that? The studs, the door frame itself that's screwed into the on a door frame. You have like 1x5s or 1x6s. Those are either nailed or screwed into 2x4s. When someone kicks a door in, here you go. My wife wants the phone. When somebody kicks in a door, the door comes off of the studs with the frame itself. So what I did is I actually have steel angle irons braced against the door frame, and they're screwed into the door frame and the 2x4s. And I have 4 hinges. Or another way you can have your door anti-kickable is you can buy, got something on my head, you can buy a bar that goes across the door. Or they have these things that you put up against the door at an angle. Or you have cameras on the outside of your door.
I can't hear you.
So basically what I have is I have angle iron against the frame of my door, which it could still be kicked in. It's going to just be a lot harder to kick it in. By the time I hear that, I'm gonna be shooting with my AK.
Okay.
Let's take a garage door, for instance. Okay. There's a lot of ways to break into a garage door. If your garage door does not have an electric motor hooked up to it, it's a lot easier for a thief to break into that. There's one way they can do it. They can push the top in, then they get a hanger, and that little rope that's on that little cam that disconnects it from the track, that has that little red plastic handle. What they do is they go in there with a hanger, and they hook on to that little piece of string with the red handle. They pull it, and that pulls that cam down. Door opens right up, and they go. Now, but that's if you have your door on electric. If you have an electric motor. If you don't have an electric motor, you're going to lock your door. The old doors have a lock. You turn it, and there's 2 bars, almost like an old prison door in the Old West. There's two bars that go on each side of the tracks. The new doors don't have that. The new doors just have one lever that goes in a hole in the track. So what's going to happen is the thieves are going to try both sides of the door, and with a crowbar, they can easily open up the side that doesn't have a lock on it, and they crawl right in. And more than likely, you won't even hear them come in your house.
I don't know. It was
So,
weird. I'm like,
what I suggest
turn the TV down.
people to do that don't have electric garage doors have, look on your garage door, you see this, you see a little hickey that you press in, have one of those on each side of your garage door. That's what I have. I have one on each side. On top of that, my garage door is electric, and I think you guys seen what I do with my garage door. My motor is like way back, so my string is impossible to grab. Matter of fact, to be honest with you, I don't even have a string on my cam. The cam that's on my track, I don't even have a string on it, but mine's impossible to grab because I put my motor way back in the garage, that way my head doesn't hit the motor. But that's what I suggest, guys. Make your house harder to break into. That's the first thing. Like I said, if you don't have an electric motor in your garage doors, put a lock on each side of your garage door. Okay? If you have an electric garage door, take that string off of the cam. Do away with that. Your doors, there's all kind of ways of strengthening your doors to make them harder. They're not going to be impossible to kick in, but you can make them harder to kick in. If you don't want to put the angle irons on the side of the frame, it does take away the beauty. You can get a bar that goes across the door, or you can get these levers that can hold the door in. They do a pretty good job itself too. There we go. I had to close the bedroom door. Because everything she says in there is being picked up here. So that's the castle doctrine, guys. Naturally, like I said, I'm a firm believer of the Second Amendment. Okay. Here's one of my boys right here. And this dude right here, we ready to go. 30 rounds. I'm going to make sure this is safe. So I got the safety on. And even though it's not chambered, I still do that. I don't like having the hammer back all the time, because I believe if you keep a gun stored with the hammer back, it's going to take tension off that spring. But this is what I go to defend my house. This boy right here. This is the boy I go to. I have this beside my bed with a 30 round clip. And the reason why I have tape on it is to remind me this is loaded. Even if I'm in the right to use that, I'm gonna still be in a hoosgow. I don't think I'll be arrested. Like if someone breaks into my house, I'm gonna shoot them with that. I'm gonna shoot to kill. I'm not gonna play. I'll shoot him. I'll shoot him in the face, in the chest. I'll go for kill areas, and I won't be arrested. But the situation will be investigated, and I'll be told not to leave town. But that's the castle doctrine. In Pennsylvania, Florida has the same thing. Florida's a little bit looser than Pennsylvania is. Maybe that might be because people in Florida are a little crazier. It's like in I think Texas is another place where you can't even look. Well, down in Texas, you're allowed to carry. You're allowed to open carry. I think Florida, you're allowed to open carry too. I'm not sure of that, but I'm pretty sure Texas is like that. You know, if you like guns, guys, Texas is the place to move to. You know, you go down Texas, man, you see them carrying six, like just like the old West, cowboy hat on, cowboy boots, blue jeans, checkered shirt. And they got two six guns on each side. You know, that's the place to move to if you want to open carry. So in Pennsylvania, you you are allowed to protect yourself or others in your home or vehicle if you think if they reasonably believe your life or their lives are in imminent danger or death. Now, I can't tell you how many times people have come up to me in with their eyes filled with road rage. You know, that's why I stress to every one of you, do not get out of your vehicle if you think you're going to want to teach somebody a lesson. If they're going too slow, maybe they brake check you, maybe they cause you to slam your brakes on, and your kid, his head hits the dashboard. Do not get out of your vehicle and go over to that car thinking you're a tough guy, thinking you're going to teach them a lesson. Because if that person thinks that you're going to try to kill them, God forbid you go over to the vehicle with a bat in your hand. You can get shot. It's a bad idea, guys. You got to forget about doing that. Okay, those days are gone. I used to do the same thing. I can't tell you. I probably got out of my car maybe a dozen times, maybe 2 dozen times, going over to someone's car. Big bad tough guy. Today, I'm getting shot. Can't do that no more. Them days are gone. Them days are gone, brother. Everybody, everybody's carrying a Sig Sauer or a Glock. I seen a little 3-year-old baby in a bassinet, had a Glock on. You know, these kids waiting for the school bus every morning, they all have Glocks on them, the Sig Sauers. No, they all do. Bus driver does. Nuns, priests, they all do. Everyone carries a gun now. You know, them days are gone, baby. Don't try to be a tough guy. So yeah, do the if you have a garage door that's electric, take that little string thing off with the little red handle, take that off and throw that in the garbage can. If your door is manual, put a lock on each side. Because all someone got to do is all they got to do is get a crowbar. And they lift up one side. Oh, that's the side that has a lock on it. Well, let's go try the other side. And the other side, you could lift it right up off the tracks, come right in your house. You won't even hear them. But if you have a lock on both sides, it's going to make it harder for them to pry that door up. Try to make your exterior doors harder to kick in. Okay, like I said, the jamb itself is what comes off of the frame, the 2x4 frame. So what I did is I got 1x1 steel angles from the department store. They're like a 1/4 inch thick steel, and they're 1 inch by 1 inch angles. If you set them pointed towards, they'll look like an L. And I drilled a bunch of holes in them, and I screwed those. The way they're screwed in is the corner is screwed into the jamb. You know, like this way here is screwed into the jamb, and then this way here is screwed into the 2x4. And I have those on both sides of both my exterior doors. So that alone makes my doors really hard to kick in. You know, you ain't gonna be able to kick them in with just one try. It might take maybe 5 or 10 tries, and by then I'm gonna have this boy pointed right at you, and I'm gonna wait for you to come in my house. And once you come in my house, you're mine. You're my property. I'm not allowed to shoot with. I'm not allowed to shoot at them on the outside of my house. But once they come inside my house, they're my property. They're mine. Their lives are mine. I'm gonna take their lives. Okay? That's how that works. Um, Cameras, surveillance cameras are okay, but people can disable those guys. It's just like these Ring doorbells. All a Ring doorbell is going to let you do is see who's about to come in your house. You can have a person going to your back door. So let's say you have a Ring doorbell on both of them. You have a person coming in your front door, and by the time you look at it, a person in the back door is going to be kicking your door in, and they're going to come in the house, and your Ring doorbell ain't going to stop them from coming in your house. It's going to just let you know. How fast can you call the police? How fast are the police going to come to your house before that person comes in, maybe takes you hostage, maybe takes whatever you got, and by the time they leave, the police still ain't there. They still ain't there. So these Ring doorbells, they ain't worth crap. They're worthless. Okay? That's why I urge everybody to get one of these or AR-15. Okay? And know your state's self-defense laws. Now, on YouTube, you cannot monetize any videos that has anything to do with guns. Once their algorithm sees that gun there, I can't monetize the video. There's a bunch. Every video I make, there's a bunch of questions I got to go down, and one of them is firearms. Does the video contain firearms? If it contains firearms, you can't monetize it. So this video here, I'm not trying to make money from it. I'm trying to get people to know their self-defense. A lot of people don't understand self-defense laws, because I see many of them guys getting out of their car and going over to someone's vehicle with a baseball bat or a tire iron or some kind of club, and they don't understand what they're getting themselves into at all. You can't do that no more. I strongly advise people not to do that anymore. All right, guys. I gotta take my NyQuil. I take about a quarter inch of NyQuil every night. It helps me go to sleep a lot better. I'm kind of getting to the point where I actually depend on that to help me get to sleep. I'm getting at least 8 hours of sleep a day. So I'm gonna get my rest, and hope you enjoyed the video.